Hello, brothers, and welcome. Juan Sepulveda here from the Winding Stairs. I wanted to hop on here very quick to share something exciting with you. I was just browsing one of the posts on the Winding Stairs. Welcome, Adolfo. Thank you for joining us. And just to let you know, we are broadcasting live on Instagram and on Facebook, the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group. And this came out of, I was inspired by something I just read, a post from Brother Zane McCune, in which he talks about the fact that he had a guest speaker scheduled to come talk at his lodge, and something happened that he couldn't make it. So they had to scramble to find something different to do. And I love what this brother did. He actually went to the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group and started browsing the post that other brothers had. And he came across 4 topics that he wanted to discuss in lodge. And what he actually did, which I thought was really, really cool, is that he actually took the lodge setting and he brought the chairs or the seating arrangement, brought it in closer to the altar, to the center of the lodge, and started having a conversation with brothers there. So he took what happened in the virtual world, what happened here on the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group, and he actually took it and started discussions with brothers. Now, I've heard brothers complain about boring meetings. Like, if you've had boring meetings in the past 3 months, give me some, let me know by giving me some thumbs up very quick. I see a heart there. Someone actually knows what I'm talking about. And not all meetings have to be straight business. Some of the meetings can be exciting. They can be fun. So I just wanted to go ahead and encourage you to think a little bit outside the box. So to give you a little bit more insight into what this inspired, I started compiling a very brief list that you can take today and make a plan for your lodge. And these are 3 tips that can make your meetings more exciting. If you think of a brother that could benefit from this discussion, make sure to share this with them right now. Or if you have a lodge page, share the link to this live recording. Because I want you to, as many brothers as possible, to take advantage of this. We have, as I said in the past, we have a lot of things to compete with. There is social media, there's work, there's family, there's religious activities, there's civic activities. There are all kinds of things that we are competing against for the attention of the brothers. And we are not alone in losing members and having a decline in participation. Many organizations throughout the world are suffering from the same thing. So they have to be paying attention to what's happening outside of their own organization to try to find things that are perhaps going to be exciting for their membership, that are going to keep them engaged and keep them coming back for more. So I have 3 tips to make your meetings more exciting, and I hope that you can take notes of these. If someone is if someone's watching this live, if in the comment section, if you can please list these as I say them so that other brothers can have access to them in the future as they browse. And number 1 is have a guest speaker. A guest speaker, it doesn't have to be one of the book authors that you are familiar with. It doesn't have to be someone who is across in another country. Having a guest speaker could be even a brother from the lodge. There are many talented brothers in lodge that could enjoy giving a small presentation about a specific topic. And the brothers that are coming to the meeting are going to enjoy something different. They're going to enjoy a different perspective about a topic, a lesson. They're going to enjoy a little bit of a mix. And this is what I encourage you to do. And I see Brother Kenneth from Texas. He has some guest speaker coming on, and Brother Angelo Aponte. And this is good. Having a guest speaker is something that can help energize or make things a little bit better. If you can bring a brother that you follow, like for example, the brothers from the Masonic Round Table, you have artists, brothers who give presentations on aprons, like Brother Craddock from the Craftsman Apron. There are tattoo artists like this brother who makes the custom made aprons. There are other brothers who do different things, and you can bring them in to talk about these specific things and talk about something different. Or you can have very introspective brothers who talk about esoteric aspects of Masonry, like our brother Eric Diamond, and many more. Or you can find out who's the most exciting speaker in the next district over. So you don't have to pay for travel. You don't have to pay for a stay for this brother, and you can still have a very different experience for brothers. To be respectful of your time, I'm going to move through these relatively quickly so that you can, we can keep this to a decent time. I know the last live session that I did, I said, I'm going to be respectful of your time. And I ended up being, I don't know, almost an hour long. So this is not going to happen today. So stick around. And again, if you think of a brother or if you think of a lodge that could benefit from having a little bit more excitement on the meetings, share this with them. Number 2 is what inspired this live session, is what Brother McCune expressed, that he had a speaker lined up to come and visit, and that speaker couldn't make it. So last minute, this could go from a very exciting scheduled meeting to a regular stated meeting. Imagine the brothers that perhaps made arrangements to have their kids' baby being taken care of. Imagine the brothers that had to leave work early to attend your meeting, and then they're confronted with no guest speaker. Instead, reading of the minutes and you know the spill. A regular stated meeting. That would have been so disappointing that perhaps they wouldn't come again whenever another speaker is scheduled or a special event was arranged. So what this brother did is he had a discussion night. And what I encourage you to do is, like, you can bookmark any of these pages. If you're following us on Instagram, try to find out the different topics that we talk about there. If you follow us on Facebook, on the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group, check out what are the discussions that are happening. And I would recommend that you pick a topic that is going to be exciting, but not bog people down. You see, one of the aspects that we have to deal with online is that there seems to be a lot of negativity. You have a lot of criticism. You have a lot of critical comments, critical posts, things that are conducive to animosity, conducive to difficult conversations. I would encourage you instead to pick something that is going to be uplifting. Think about these brothers that perhaps don't come to lodge very often. And when they come to lodge, you want them to leave as if this was an experience that contributed to their life. There's a word that I'm very fond of, and it's edifying. I like the conversations that happen on the Winding Stairs to be edifying. And what I mean by that is that they build upon what you already are. They contribute to the growth of the individual. That is my goal with the Winding Stairs, that I'm contributing a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation for brothers across the states or across the world to build upon what they've already constructed. So what this brother did, like I said, he started a discussion night. Now, let's be more specific so that I can help you build this better. Let's say, for example, you're going to talk about the practical application of some of the lessons in the Entered Apprentice degree. And that's what the discussion is going to be. What you can even do is open the lodge in an Entered Apprentice degree, or bring down the lodge if you're in the States or countries that open in the Master Mason's degree. Bring the lodge down to Entered Apprentice degree and invite the Entered Apprentice to sit with you and be part of that conversation. Perhaps ask questions, make comments of what was most impressive to them, ask them if there's any practical way in which they can apply those lessons to their lives, or real life examples of how the application of Masonic lessons have made their experience better. That is a discussion that could be edifying, because it could do two things. The brothers that are perhaps more experienced, that have been members of the lodge for a longer time, they can see the enthusiasm, the zeal on these younger brothers, and be re-energized to revisit some of these lessons and encourage them or be there to mentor them. It also gives these younger brothers or these newer brothers an opportunity to reach out in a purposeful purposefully structured amount of time, reach out to older brothers that can give them more guidance. You see, the possibilities are endless. If you look through the hundreds and hundreds of posts that we have on the Winding Stairs, you can actually pick a topic that is going to be of interest to pretty much anybody. One thing you could do is you could ask brothers actually to go in there and pick one topic, and then you pick from the topics that the brothers that are attending selected. The third point that I was going to bring out kind of blended with my second, and it's a new voice. I call it a new voice because it's trying to find that brother that hasn't participated much in Lodge. The quiet one that's in a corner, it consistently comes and sits in the same place. The brother that perhaps is not as extrovert as some of the other leaders in the Lodge, and try to engage with that brother in a conversation. And you could structure it in a way that is non-threatening, where you can just ask them a question or ask what they would like to know or what they would like to discuss about Masonry. And that way, perhaps we'll tackle a topic that hasn't been discussed, because the people that are usually suggesting, the people that are usually driving, are the ones that are more extroverted, the ones that are more outgoing, the ones that are more engaged. So here you give someone that has a voice, perhaps a muted voice, someone that's more reserved, you make the day about them. That could be very special. So to make your next Lodge meeting more exciting, consider these 3 steps. Number 1, have a guest speaker. As I mentioned earlier, it can be anybody who is willing to stand up and give a moderately timed presentation. It doesn't have to be an hour long, 40 minutes long. It could be a 7-minute presentation. And so one way in which you can practically do this, I would recommend that in the next meeting, for example, you ask which brothers have given, who are familiar with public speaking, brothers that perhaps enjoy giving presentations, have experience, perhaps they're business leaders and they're often speaking to public. Ask how many of them will be willing to give a 5 to 10 minute presentation on the application of a Masonic tool in real life. Could you imagine when a brother comes visit from a different lodge and he sits down and actually goes home having learned something really exciting that kind of stepped out from the expected stated meeting? Imagine how refreshing it would be for the new members of the lodge to see that there's a lot that goes on in terms of Masonic education within a meeting itself. So the second is have a discussion night. Instead of having one person speaking, have a conversation. You can have one topic that you select that you think would be edifying. I think that's crucial in that second step. Having a conversation about a topic that can help people be uplifted and have a better experience in the meeting. And third, but not least, is a new voice. Giving a brother that perhaps doesn't make a lot of noise in lodge, giving that brother an opportunity to actually participate. Perhaps ask them, what's important to you in Masonry? And ask them, what Masonic lesson or working tool you wish we would discuss a little bit more or familiarize ourselves with its implementation. I think that would go a long way in helping a brother that might not of his own initiative come out and ask a question, give them a voice within a place where they're less active. So I really hope that you take these 3 into account. And we are reaching almost a 15-minute mark of this presentation. So that concludes what I wanted to provide for you. But I'm going to stay on for the next 5 minutes, and I want to answer your questions. If you have any comments, any suggestions about how you can make meetings more exciting, go ahead in the comment sections, let us know. Put it in as a question, or if you want to contribute, just let us know, here's what we've done in my lodge. Because I think that's important, that we share things that we've done that have succeeded, or ideas we've had that maybe we haven't been able to implement yet, but have a potential of making the meetings more exciting. One random question for the brothers on Facebook Live. Do I look blurry? I don't know. This is looking a little strange to me over here. But thank you very much. I see you, Brother Kenneth Lotman. Angelo Aponte and Brother Paul McGee have been contributing to the conversation. Thank you so much, Brother Douglas. It's good to see you here. Okay, thank you for the quick answers. So please let me know if you have any questions. If I don't get any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But I'll give you a couple of minutes because I know that there could be a delay in you writing and me seeing it. Let me see here. On the comment section, we have... Yep, I have Brother Kenneth supporting the idea of a new voice. He likes that. Having the uplifting topic, I think it's important. Any tips on bringing up the topic of starting a Masonic education during a meeting? Brian, thank you for the question. I think, of course, you have a leadership structure within the lodge, and some people are very receptive to a public question or a public challenge, perhaps. So if that is the character of your worshipful master, perhaps you could respectfully ask to speak and suggest what you envision as a Masonic education initiative. With this type of suggestions, there are two things that I prefer to see whenever when I have people suggesting things. Number one is that you are willing to be somewhat at the helm of the idea suggested, so that you're willing to take some sort of ownership of the idea, perhaps help in its organization, perhaps help in its execution. I think that is very good. And the second one is that you give a clear vision of what you say. Masonic education, it's incredibly broad. You could have a very traditional one-on-one, mouth-to-ear kind of Masonic education experience, but in today's world, this could be considered a Masonic education experience. So being very specific as to what you mean by having Masonic education, that can help. So you have those two components. In your suggestion, be as clear as possible as how you envision this Masonic education initiative. And number two, that you are willing to actually help in its organization and implementation. So I think that's what you could do to actually kickstart something in your lodge if you don't already have that. Again, brothers, if you've derived any benefit from this, make sure to share this in your lodge, in your various Masonic groups, so that we can have more people engage in this conversation. Ideally, the comment section of this live post is going to have a lot of options for you to pick from and try to implement to add energy into your stated meetings. Let me see what else I have. Brother Robert Paulino, will this be available to watch after? Yes, if you missed the whole video, this is going to be recorded. If you don't find it here, you can also find it on Instagram. If you check Instagram and you search for The Winding Stairs, you can find this. It's going to be saved there as well. And on Facebook, it's on the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group. Let me see. Yeah, Brother Robert asked also, he wishes that there was some other way to get education when he's unable to attend the lodge. Being a single parent, it makes it difficult to get to lodge if I can find a sitter. And that's very good. I'll give you my example. I'm not single, I'm married, but my wife works out of home and her work is very demanding. So my time to go to lodge is incredibly limited. Many of my brothers that attend lodge with me that are watching this, they can attest to that. They haven't seen me in months in lodge. But I stay in touch with them through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram. Those are tools that I have access to anywhere. I could be waiting on a line in a supermarket, and I could be, commenting on a brother's question about Masonic education. Another thing I've done is that I'll post a question when I'm available to post a question, and then later on I come and log on, and there's other brothers that have posted their answers. So it doesn't have to be a live interaction. You could actually post a question in a group like this and then come back and visit it later on and respond to the brother's replies. I think for me, that has been a very fulfilling tool to use in my Masonic career, because here I have access to thousands of brothers around the world who have much more experience than me, who have an incredible wealth of experience in life in general, and they're and they're at our disposal to help us. So don't be afraid to ask for help while you're here. Let me see here. Okay, I have brother Kenny from Texas. He says that the idea he suggests might not be the most exciting one, but that it could be very beneficial. And it's to read some of the Grand Lodge law book entries. So you can look at different amendments that have been part of the local Masonic jurisdictions. I think that's interesting, and you could bring some of these up to Lodge, but as long as you're not just like reading them, because that's the one thing that I don't like the most about whenever things like that are done, is that someone will grab the digest and read from the digest monotonously. Like, I know how to read, so like if I could go home and read the same thing, and it's, you know, it's better if you actually have read it. Let's say you're going to be the one to do it. You read it beforehand, and you tell brothers where it is, where they can find it if they want to read it, you know, verbatim. But you can give them a gist of what it is and what you think about it and how it came about. I think that would be a more exciting way to share some of these things. Let me see. I like that. Brother Douglas suggests having a session about the different chairs in the lodge, so that younger brothers can potentially step up and help fill in some of their responsibilities and be more acclimated to actually become involved in the lodge setting. And I think it's wonderful. One thing that happens here in Florida, I know many other states do it, they have a thing called the rusty nail degree. How many of you brothers have heard of that? If you can, give me some thumbs up so I can see. The rusty nail degree. Anyone familiar with that? Yep, I see some brothers. The rusty nail degree basically goes through some of the basic responsibilities of different chairs, about different expectations of new brothers. So even if you've been a Mason for a long time, there is so much related to Masonry that we may forget about procedures, about tradition. And this gives an opportunity to have a meeting that is solely meant to be a refresher. It's just there to help you remember some of these things that perhaps you've forgotten. They've fallen out, through the wayside. So that's a very good suggestion. I like that, brother. Thank you, brother. I have Ron. Let me see if I can pronounce this correctly. Punthalan. Ron Punthalan. It is my pleasure. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy the podcast. By the way, I have 2 episodes that I have been promising for a long time. They're starting to come out this week. We've been working really hard to make sure that we're prepared to have a regular publication of the Winding Stairs. I feel guilty that I haven't published a lot of things. I've just been, I've spread myself too thin, and I'm trying to refocus my energy so that I can be more efficient in producing work for you brothers. Yeah, I like what Brother Kenny says. Read them and then interpret so that others can better understand it. Especially with the language that's used in some of these publications. Some of it can be almost like lawyer talk. So being able to read, interpret, and kind of offer a layman's explanation of what a different thing is, I think that could be it. So, Brother Dale, I hope you found that the rusty nail degree idea interesting, and it might be helpful. It could be something interesting to do. So let me see here. Brother James McAllister, he had some of that rusty nail degree experience. Brother Nick Setich, he asks to ask the assembled brethren to give the most important part of being a Mason. Then as a group, come up with a plan to support that one reason. Enact it together. What? That is so good. I love that. So you get almost a consensus. Let's talk about what's the most important part of being a Mason, and then formulate a plan to implement that and make sure that the whole structure of the lodge supports that. I love that. I really love that suggestion. Thank you so much, Brother Nick. Very nice. Brother Hugh Greenspan, he suggests that brothers that actually go to Grand Lodge sessions when they return, for them to return with some explanation of what happened. I like that because I'm rarely, well, actually, I have never been to the Grand Lodge session here in Florida, and it's always a scheduling problem. I can't make arrangements to be there at the times, and sometimes it's a different a distance thing. And Brother Nilao on Instagram, hello, thank you for checking this out. If you missed most of it, I'm going to save it so that you can watch the video. If it expires on Instagram, make sure to go to Facebook and search for the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group. You'll see the rest of the video there. And I have just time for one more question, and I'll say goodbye. And very good, Ron. I said the name with the proper accent. Yeah, it's a tough one. I have a tough last name, so I try to make an effort and pronounce them as best as I can. Very good. And I see Brother Dale that is trying to look at this conversation and see if he can implement some of that into his last session. Well, that brings this live session to a conclusion. Thank you so much for watching. If you missed most of it, I encourage you to actually go and look at it from the beginning. I offer 3 tips on how to make your lodge meetings more exciting. If you found this video edifying, if you find this to be something useful that you would like to see a little bit more of, let me know in the comment section. Give it a like. And if you thought that it was useful, please share it. Share with other brothers from different lodges. Perhaps they can get something within the comment section that can inspire a little bit more energy in their upcoming meetings. So thank you again for your time, for your continued support. And until the next time, may your steps be firm and your path illuminated as we continue our journey up the winding stairs. Thank you, brothers.